My name is Daniel J Kirk. I'm a local artist in Calgary, Alberta, born and raised. The piece behind us here is an interpretation of the Marriott Hotel's timeline and is recreated on the original desks from the rooms of the Marriott Hotel before the restoration in 2015. You'll notice right away different sort of features within the material construction of this piece, the actual edges and the sort of way that each of the panels function. They were basically flat desks within the rooms. Routed, painted, carved back into, and now sort of celebrating this history of the Marriott Hotel. Starting kind of down and over in this direction here is basically a representation of the Marriott, and then these sort of radiating rings expanding outwards from there. We have these two vertical cuts here as well that sort of reference the rivers in Calgary. We have the Bow River here, and so that's a big part of this, flowing down from the mountains, and then the Elbow River over here. Both are sort of responding to all of these other different lines and intercuts, which I sort of imagine as geological time. And so within that, we kind of have this historic flow down from the Rocky Mountains of basically now what is Calgary. Kind of ends up having these different iterations of these sort of circular and cylindrical kind of shapes that sort of represent the different buildings that were on this site since the kind of inception of Calgary in the late 1800s. Down and sort of over here, we have a more kind of physical and tactile representation of some of the history of this place. The different bottles are all kind of found and sourced from Calgary. This building itself was a big part of Prohibition at one time, in that there was a sort of a whiskey ring going on within the Grand Central Hotel before the Marriott existed here. The first inception of this area, obviously the railroad spike here and the CP rail coming out here was one of the major influences of this area. This little Alberta Springs box here, lifting that up, reveals behind it sort of a reference to the fact that this building is the third iteration of a building on this site. It has burned to the ground completely twice before. And then all the individual sort of bottles here speak a little bit to me about like the evolution of the technology behind alcohol, and that it's still kind of a predominant social component here. Up above us then, the Marriott Hotel, as it's sort of now been reimagined from the circle to sort of this new, slightly taller, slightly more beautiful shape, perhaps you might say, and how it's sort of interconnected to then this history.